Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your Monday Night Raw Superstars, some Ring of Honor spoilers for this month, and some other wrestling independent news. Let's go straight to JR's Barbecue, where Hall of Famer Jim Ross updated his blog section of the jrsbarbecue.com website. The following items are among the highlights. To order JR's Barbecue products, visit www.shop.com. And Ross commented on the latest WWE NXT taping. Several kids stood out this past week in Orlando, including Adrian Neville, Bo Dallas, the Bray Wyatt family, Sami Zayn, Cassius Ohno, Summer Rae, yep, the same, long-legged young lady who is now with Fandango, Kurt Hawkins, well, he's coming back, I guess, Big E Langston is already on the roster, and Damien Sandow, among others, who's also on the roster. This is not a complete list, but I'm simply going off my aged memory, as he said. Some newcomers and a couple of new tag teams stuck there in tow in the water. Plus, I saw some talents who have viable verbal skills and an organic delivery, which is always best. Neville wrestles as PAC on the indie scene. Bray Wyatt is Husky Harris, and Sami Zayn is the unmasked El Generico. Ross wrote a lot about the latest NXT tapings in his full blog, and you can go to his blog. And he got comments on the latest timeline for WWE Performance Center. NXT personnel expect to be in the new Performance Center by July. If all continues to go well with the contractors, this facility will be for NXT talent and regular WWE talents who are presently touring on Raw and SmackDown. The new strength and conditioning coach is already on the job and making a positive impact. And he quotes on the status of Mason Ryan. Mason Ryan has made some significant improvement since being back in NXT, and I look for him to be able to contribute on the next level if he continues to push himself and receive his coaching as he has been. There's no substitute for hard work in the ring and through study out of it. To be great can't be accomplished simply while a prospect is on the clock, but takes extra effort, including studying the game. Ryan was too green for the active roster when we last saw him, with working consistently on the main roster, and more time in developmental was clearly needed. The dark main event for tonight's Raw event was listed as John Cena and Alberto Del Rio versus Dolph Ziggler and Ryback. Independent wrestling star Colt Cabana, aka Scott Colton, turned 33 years old today. He was born May 6, 1980. Cabana hosts the ultra-popular The Art of Wrestling podcast. Check out his free show and feel free to make a donation at tsmradio.com/Colt Cabana. By the way, does anyone know when Matt Classic's birthday is? Brian Knobs. The real name is Brian Yandrisovitz. He turned 49 years old today. If you don't know the Nasty Boys, shame on you. It's Brian Knobs. He was born May 6, 1964. TNA personality Brooke Hogan turned 25 years old on Sunday. She was born May 5th, 1988. Hall of Famer Bill Watts celebrated his 74th birthday on Sunday. He was born May 5th, 1939, after a highly successful in-ring career. Watts owned and booked Mid-South Wrestling, which went on to become the Universal Wrestling Federation. He also served as Executive Vice President and Booker of WCW, and was an executive with WWE. Hiroshi Hayes turned 52 years old on Sunday. He was born May 5th, 1961. He retired from the ring in 2007 and worked as a PWF chairman. His final day in that role will be on May 11th this year, when he will be replaced by Kenta Kobashi. WWE Hall of Famer Mr. Fuji, real name Harry Fujiwara, celebrated his 78th birthday on Saturday. He was born May 4th, 1935. He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2007 by Don the Rock Morocco. Referee Scott Armstrong, a.k.a. Joseph James, turned 54 on Saturday. He was born May 4th, 1959. Finally, there are some matches that were listed for the 11 p.m. Central Time airing of the AWA on ESPN Classic. Rob Stone versus Scott the Mighty Hall. Rickards and DeFalco versus Yuri Gorchenko and Alex Smirnoff. Well, that's not the brand of he doesn't own the brand of vodka. Tony Leone and Dennis Stamp versus Midnight Rockers, and Larry Zbyszko versus Kurt Hennig. And the show was taped on September 28, 1986. John Cena noted that he was able to work out without extra support for his foot injury. 2 days with zero tape and feeling great, Cena wrote at twitter.com/John Cena. While it's entertaining good news that he's feeling better, we may be better off playing up the injury to make him look vulnerable heading into his Extreme Rules match with Ryback. It will be interesting to see whether he plays up the injury on television or if it has become a non-factor now that he's feeling so much better. Matt Morgan tweeted, 6 years, 6 months sober today and got to this point 1 day at a time with zero relapses. Very fortunate I got the help I needed when I did. For the week of 3/17, the Marine 3, featuring The Miz, dropped from number 13 to number 19 among the best-selling DVDs with 37,320 units being sold. And that was from Informer, Rock and Roll, and Midnight Express, 3 decades of greatness. This day in wrestling history, May the 6th, 2002 episode of Raw was the first time they became under the WWE name. Other events in 1984, World Class Championship Wrestling, David Von Erich Memorial Parade of Champions was held in Irving, Texas. The event drew over 50,000 fans, the largest wrestling attendance in the USA at the time. Buck Zumhoff and Iceman King Parsons defeated the Super Destroyers of Bill and Scott Irwin to win the NWA American Tag Team titles. Kerry Von Erich defeated Ric Flair to win the NWA World title. Kevin, Mike, and Fritz Von Erich defeated the Fabulous Freebirds of Michael P.S. Hayes, Terry Bam Bam Gordy, and Buddy Jack Roberts to win the NWA Six-Man Tag Team titles. In 2000, WWF Insurrection was held in London, England. It saw the final pay-per-view appearance of the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith. Kurt Angle defeated Chris Benoit. The British Bulldog defeated Crash Holly to win the WWF Hardcore title. The Hardy Boys, Matt and Jeff, defeated Edge and Christian by disqualification as Edge and Christian retained the WWF Tag Team titles. Eddie Guerrero defeated Chris Jericho to retain the WWF European title. Eddie Guerrero defeated Chris Jericho. I think I already did that. The Rock defeated Shane McMahon and Triple H in a triple threat match to retain the WWF title. Title changes on this day in history, 1921. Stanislav Zbyszko defeated Ed Strangler Lewis to win the World Heavyweight title. In 1963, Rikidozan and Toyonobori defeated Fred Atkins and Killer Kowalski to win the vacant JWA All Asia Tag Team titles. 1969, Ramon and Alberto Torres defeated Carl von Stronheim and Treacherous Phillips to win the TSW United States Tag Team titles. 1984, Rip Tyler ends Bob Sweeten's 2-year reign as TSW Brass Knuckles champion. 1982, Black Tiger defeated Grant Hamada to win the vacant WWF Junior Heavyweight title. Yep, that was WWF. 1984, the Rock and Soul Connection of Buck Zumhoff and King Parsons defeated the Super Destroyers 1 and 2 to win the WCW American Tag Team titles. Also, the Von Erichs, Fritz, Kevin, and Mike defeated the Fabulous Freebirds of Terry Gordy, Michael Hayes, and Buddy Jack Roberts in an ODQ Backstreet bout match to win the World Class Championship Wrestling World Six-Man Tag Team titles. Fritz immediately gave his share of the titles to Kerry Von Erich and retired. 1985, the Fantastic Bobby Fulton and Tommy Rogers defeated the Midnight Express of Dennis Condrey and Bobby Eaton in a no DQ two-ring match to win the vacant World Class Championship Wrestling American Tag Team titles. 2002 on Raw, William Regal defeated Spike Dudley to win the WWE European title. Also, the WWF Hardcore title is passed from Stevie Richards, Bubba Ray Dudley, Raven, Just Incredible, Crash Holly, Trish Stratus, and then back to Stevie Richards. 2009, Manabu Nakanishi defeated Hiroshi Tanahashi to win the IWGP Heavyweight title. And I do apologize on the impronunciation correctly. Happy birthday goes to two-time world champion Colt Cabana, age 33. Former WAF, WCW, and AWA Tag Team Champion Brian Knobbs of the Nasty Boys turned 49, and one-time NWA Tag Team Champion Apollo turned 38. A memoriam on this day in 2004, the wrestling world lost former NWA star Pepper Gomez at the age of 77. Gomez won the Mr. California bodybuilding competition in 1949, but opted for a career of professional wrestling rather than bodybuilding. He debuted in 1953, but severely injured his knee in his very first match, did not begin competing regularly until later that year. His first championship came in Vancouver, where he teamed with Johnny Demchuk and Ivan Kamarov to win a total of 3 Northwest Tag Team titles. Gomez would go on to find his greatest success in southern United States, primarily in Texas, where he became a 12-time heavyweight champion. He also made regular successful tours of Australia and still holds the record for drawing the largest audience to San Francisco Cow Palace, with 17,000 fans turning up to see himself and Ray Stevens accumulate their feud. Outside of the ring, Gomez was famed for his immense stomach muscles, and a regular feat saw a Volkswagen car run over his stomach to no ill effect. He finished his in-ring career in 1980 and lived out the rest of his working life as a greeter at Stroma's restaurant in the San Francisco Bay Area. In 1990, Gomez required a kidney transplant, but his health never recovered. A series of emergency surgeries only weakened the aging man, and he eventually passed away peacefully with his family at his side. Ross Noble met with John Cena earlier, I believe today or yesterday, in Roanoke, Virginia. Well, that was today, as I just read. On today, and sent the following notes regarding his experience. He even posted a picture. I was going to get a picture, but I just didn't feel like it. I just saw a bunch of guys in the gym, including John Cena. He was kind of a jerk to others, wanting pictures, but snapped this one with me before he started to get seemingly annoyed by so many people wanting pictures. Funny, he took his phone and snapped a photo of some average guy during one of his lifts and said, "Not fun, huh?" He seemed to be walking normal with no limp or anything, not to sell any injuries. I can't really blame Cena for getting annoyed if fans were interrupting his workout. As Ross noted was the case during a follow-up email. Here's some friendly advice for autograph seekers. Wait until the celebrity has finished his workout, eating dinner, etc. before approaching them. If you are still rude, then feel free to stalk them by breaking into their home, running after the car, trying to grab his ass. Don't take my advice, grab his ass, because you might get your ass kicked. Sleeping in their bed in a home, that's a different story. Okay, scratch the whole stalking thing. Undertaker is set to undergo surgeries on his right shoulder and his left hip, according to an exclusive report at WrestleZone.com. Despite the procedure, the dead man reportedly told WWE Chairman Vince McMahon that he will, in fact, be wrestling at WrestleMania 30 and already has a few potential opponents in mind. Those names are either John Cena, Brock Lesnar, or a writing team member, as told specifically of WrestleZone. Hector also had some ideas regarding the Shield, the whole scenario on SmackDown played out great, and Taker sees big money in those three. Toyo Yamamoto Jr. says by Facebook, please pray for his great friend and mentor, Outlaw Don Bass. No, not the former WWE star Ron Bass, as he suffered a stroke at the SPWA last night. He's a true legend in our business. There's another blog by JR. He comments on the possibility of Tim Tebow to WWE. My idea that Tim Tebow might find success in WWE apparently struck a chord with some media hot types. It's not the worst idea I've ever spewed. Tebow is young, 25, big and athletic, enjoys working with charitable organizations a la Make-A-Wish Foundation, etc., and is coachable. Tim could be a positive role model in the ring and touch lives around the world via the WWE's global footprint. Of course, being a positive role model in the ring in today's world oftentimes means getting booed out of the building. Is Tebow to WWE a long shot? Absolutely. I doubt, but I don't know that it's ever been seriously discussed within the WWE, but it's certainly an intriguing idea, if for nothing else, for a well-constructed long-term storyline that could accumulate at WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans. The headline that would headline an offer that would garner, if formally made to the former Heisman Trophy winner, would be widespread. ESPN's Skip Bayless would likely be appalled at the humanity. And you can view more on his blog at JR's Barbecue. Slamfest results 2013 from Cookeville, Tennessee. Matt Boyce defeated LT Fault with Tony Fault. The Untouchables defeated Ryan Jeffries and Kevin Weatherby. Melissa Coates defeated Tasha Simone. Hammerjack defeated Kevin Sullivan. Johnny Bandana defeated David Young with Paul Adams. Al Snow defeated King Shane Williams, and Too Cool, that's Rikishi and Brian Christopher. Sorry, no worm involved, since there's no tequila, he wasn't there. They defeated Tommy Dreamer and Too Tough Tony. Isn't Too Tough Tony from the ITP, Insane Clown Posse? And that was from the 4th, May 4th. Ring of Honor spoilers from May 5th tapings. In Toronto, Ontario, Canada, Episode 1, Jimmy Jacobs defeated Jay Lethal. Titus and Compton defeated Caprice Coleman and Cedric Alexander. Adam Cole defeated Kevin Steen. Episode number 2, Mark Briscoe defeated Colin Delaney. Yeah, the skinny guy from WWE when he lasted about 6 months, I think. Mischief defeated Cherry Bomb. Taji Ishimori defeated Roderick Strong. Episode number 3, Cedric Alexander and Caprice Coleman defeated T.D. Thomas, ACH, and QT Evans to become the number 1 contender to the tag titles, and they get a shot at the BITW with Leap of Faith, Frog Splash on TD. TV title number 1 contenders match. Winner faces Matt Taven at BITW. Jay Lethal defeated BJ Whitmer, and Mike Prodigy Bennett with the lethal injection on Whitmer. Episode number 4 to end the month's tapings. Proving Grounds match. TV champion Matt Taven defeated Pepper Park. Tommaso Ciampa returned to action and defeated Rip Impact. The American Wolves of Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards defeated Ring of Honor champion Jay and Mark Briscoe. And here's notes on the BITW Ring of Honor World title. Jay Briscoe versus Mark Briscoe. Brother versus brother. Ring of Honor tag titles. Red Dragon versus Cedric Alexander and Caprice Coleman. Ring of Honor TV title, Jay Lethal versus Matt Taven. And you got Tommaso Ciampa versus Michael Elgin. And here's the results for last Saturday Morning Slam from May 4th, 2013. As there was no results posted from last week or spoilers. Of course, the commentators were Josh Matthews and Brad Maddox. General Manager Mick Foley getting a little dance lesson from the Usos until the primetime players come in and make fun of him for not knowing how to dance. Foley asked advice for the three of them to do the millions of dollars dance. Young says only someone with 2 left feet can do the Usos dance. Jay says that the players' dance is worthy of a couple of dollars instead of millions of challenges to a match. And Young accepts and Foley makes it official. Jay Uso with Jimmy versus Jerry Young with Titus. Young hits a single leg takedown and follows up with a shoulder tackle and poses for the crowd. Jay messes up Young's afro and Mr. No Days Off retreats to the floor. Back in the ring, Jay hits the two deep arm drags and Young retreats back to the floor again. Commercial break. Jay has Young in the corner. Young in a hammerlock. While playing with his hair, Young escapes and rams Jay's head in the top turnbuckle. Jay does a little pop and lock dance and drops Young with a headbutt for a 1 count. Young hip tosses and dropped another head for a 2 count. Jay went up to the second rope, but Young grabs his leg, pulls him down, and Jay crashes to the canvas. Young rams Jay's back into the corner and puts him on the top rope for a superplex. Jay pushes him off with a counter and attempts a frog splash, but Titus O'Neil pushes him off, and the referee rings the bell for disqualification. The 4 men argue in the ring until Mick Foley comes out. He says O'Neil and Jimmy Uso failed as bystanders and makes the tag team match for after the break. Mick Foley with a "Don't try this at home" P.S. a public service announcement. The Usos versus primetime players. O'Neil shoves Jimmy down off the lockup, and Jimmy comes back with chops and hits the sunset flip for a 2 count. Jimmy gets back into the players' corner, and Young tags back in, but gets dropped with a double knife edge shot. Jay tags in and drops Young with a shot to the throat. Jimmy tags it back in and hits a forearm to the chest and lands a flying headbutt. The Usos keep making frequent tags until Young rolls outside and calls for a timeout and trips over steel steps in the process. Jimmy chases after him, but Young tags O'Neil on his way back into the apron, which causes Jimmy to be blindsided as they go to another commercial. Young gets front suplex onto Jimmy for a 2 count and sends Jimmy into the corner for 2 hard buckles. O'Neil tags in and hits the shoulder tackle that turns Jimmy inside out for a 2 count. Jimmy attempted a cross body off the ropes, but O'Neil caught him with a fall away slam. O'Neil wastes too much time and misses a splash in the corner, and Jimmy makes the tag. Young tags in as well, and Jay lands with the 3-4 flying forearms and hits a Samoan drop. Jimmy hits a power slam, but O'Neil breaks it up to pin. O'Neil gets hit with the double super kicks from the Usos, and Jay hits the Young with a super kick of his own, which sets up the frog splash for 1, 2, 3 to end the show. David Hodges and Mike were at the Raw show and posted the following Superstars taping results. A larger than normal crowd, even though it's pouring down rain. WWE is selling merchandise for the trailers in the parking lot. They are not getting a lot of business on the side we entered on. David noted that he is really looking forward to this crowd. Superstars taping had first match, Ted DiBiase Jr. defeating Michael McGillicuddy. DiBiase won a decent 6-minute match with Dream Street. There was next to no heat from McGillicuddy. Match number 2, Cody Rhodes and his mustache defeated Justin Gabriel, and Cody won by pinfall with the Crossroads. Mike noted that he enjoyed the last part of the match as both participants had cool near fall spots. And now, live from the USA Network, live from Roanoke, Virginia at the Roanoke Civic Center. The show opened with a narrator discussing Twitter bombshell for Paul Heyman. Still shot photos showed of the duo with him and Brock Lesnar at the WWE headquarters, and there was some grainy camera footage as well. Narrator also recapped last week's main event. John Cena's music played, and he walked onto the stage. He pointed to his foot and said, "We're better than we were last week." That's what I'm talking about. Michael Cole, Jerry Lawler, and JBL checked in from ringside and said Achilles injury is still an issue. Is there? And it's there, and it's going to be there when that match takes place, Lawler said. Regarding Cena's Extreme Rules match with Ryback, Cena listened to his usual mixed crowd reaction and said, You can sense the unrest in WWE. Cena said his injury won't cause him to back out of the match with Ryback at Extreme Rules. Cena said that after Ryback refused to compete last week, and then he stared into his eyes on the stage, he was a little confused by his intentions. Cena answered questions he said he received throughout the week. He said Ryback is ready to DTF, do the Fandango. He said someone photoshopped photos of he and Betty White. He said some freak even added a spatula to make it extra frisky. And yes, I do it only when I'm alone, bored, and no one is watching, he said. Cena said he's not a teacher, liar, or a doctor. He's the current WWE champion. On a very serious note, as long as I am medically cleared as a WWE champion, it is my job to get in this ring and do my best. Cena said that he hasn't been 100% since 2002, but that won't stop him from begging in the ring to defend the WWE Championship. Cena said Ryback will realize the champ is here. Cena's line was interrupted then by Vicky Guerrero's "Excuse me," but he spoke over her. Vicky walked out, and she's excited that Cena will be defending the title. She said that the pay-per-view won't be ordinary, it will be extreme. Vicky said she would never choose a stipulation for a match without input from the champion and the challenger. Ryback makes his entrance and joined Cena and Vicky in the ring. My internet feed of Raw was going in and out all night. So that was why I'm trying to read the results from the internet sheets. Vicky said she gave Cena a chance to give his idea for his stipulation. Cena said that in order to be fair to Ryback, they could give it the win to the person who runs out of the ring like a screaming little girl. He also suggested a whine-off and impersonated Cena and also sounded like the lesbian Forest Ranger on Brickleberry. Cena said he doesn't care what the stipulation is, and that could even have a Vicky Guerrero's granny panties on a pole match. Then he stopped himself and said, "No man, woman, or child should have to see that." Cena said he just wants a fight and a chance to shut up the world's largest complainer. Vicky told Ryback that Cena has elected to let him pick the stipulation. Ryback said that since Cena can't even take a step without grimacing, letting him pick the stipulation was stupid. Cena took a step and said it hurt, but it would hurt Ryback a lot more if he took another one. Ryback told him to take it easy because he wasn't fighting him tonight. Ryback said that after Extreme Rules, everyone will know Ryback rules. Ryback announced that the match will be a last man standing match. Cena actually showed a bit of concern. Ryback left the ring to conclude the segment. Announcer spoke about Lesnar and Heyman invading WWE headquarters and showed Twitter photos of the duo doing so. Colt said that Heyman would join them via satellite, and Triple H would also respond. A shot aired of Randy Orton walking backstage as the crowd actually got a little bit of noise. Colt said Orton would be seeking retribution for what Damien Sandow did on SmackDown. A lousy verbal segment between Cena and Ryback. Actually, Cena was the problem. He once again told cornball jokes that the live crowd wasn't laughing at. Vicky was her usual self. "Excuse me!" And Ryback is a mediocre promo at best. Me and Cena mocking him wasn't helping. At least Cena showed some sense of concern at the end rather than smirking when the stipulation was announced. Of course, that should be a lock, but you never know with Cena. It's also good to see them continue to play up the Cena is hurting going into the match, as it makes him look vulnerable. Match number 1, Randy Orton versus Damien Sandow. Sandow sang a version of Orton's theme song, and he walked to the ring. Orton dominated the first few minutes of the match and was in the process of hitting a drop kick when the show cut to commercial. I saw none of this match at all. Sandow got some offense in, and after the break, he ate a drop kick while jumping off the second rope. Orton followed up with a hanging DDT, a draping DDT. Orton played to the crowd, camera cut to the fans, and then Orton hit the RKO after Sandow stumbled toward him. Orton covered Sandow and pinned him. 1, 2, 3, and the match lasted down a minute 20 seconds. They cut to the announcer speaking at ringside, and then Cole flipped out and pointed to the stage where Orton was knocked out and Big Show was standing over him. That's all I heard was Big Show's music played, and my internet feed cut out again from the website I was watching. He went to like, I would say 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 different feeds, and then gave the excuse that his satellite went out himself, as they were having thunderstorms. Well, it came like 15 minutes later, and he had dual feeds going on. It's kind of mocking. It's like 1 second. And then they replayed the footage of the Big Show coming out and knocking Orton out with a punch. A few referees came out to check on Orton. Isn't there someone more qualified than referees? Backstage segment with Fandango was shown dancing with his brunette dancer. I believe I took a picture and posted it on my Facebook, and at least I tried. Facebook was having problems with their photo enhancers, posters, and what have you. And Lalo said Fandango would be facing R-Truth after the break. Well, guess what? Internet feed went out again. As much as I normally enjoy Sandal's entrance promos, his singing a bit did nothing for me and didn't feel right for his character. There was an awkward cut to the crowd just before Orton's RKO, but I think the idea behind not catching the show punch live was designed to make it seem like it came out of nowhere. Meanwhile, Fandango continues to switch dancers. NXT Summer Rae was used last week and on the house shows over the weekend, but they went back to the nameless brunette for this clip. And did you know Graphic touted that the Raw was a top show on cable last week? Wow. Who did they have competition with? And that it topped NBA and NBL games. Major League Baseball. How about that? Or something like that. Chris Jericho's music played, and then the lights went out. Jericho walked onto the stage. I didn't see none of that either. He was wearing one of his awesome light bright jackets. Jericho headed to the ring, and the highlights aired from the 2 weeks ago of Jericho throwing Fandango off the stage and then dancing with Summer Rae. The fans chanted Y2J as Jericho stood in the ring and welcomed the Raw is Jericho! Jericho referred to Fandango as Fandumbo, Fan Dodge Durango, Fan Dimple, Fan Dingleberry, Fan Dumblo, etc. He said he was putting together a judges panel to critique Fandango. He pointed to a table that was set up at ringside. Rose Clay's music played, and then out he came. Sweet Tea Cameron and Naomi made their entrance. Clay and Sweet Tea joined Jericho at the judges table. Fandango made his entrance with the brunette dancer. Judges gave them low scores. Fandango took the mic and asked who Christopher was to judge him. Just because you competed on Dancing with the Stars and failed doesn't make you an expert. So we get Fandango with Dancer versus R-Truth. Jericho and tons of fun or funk held up number cards to low scores for Fandango's offense. And R-Truth had an offensive flurry, so Fandango ducked to ringside. Truth did his usual dance and splits. Jericho and T gave him 10s. Clay gave him 42. Fandango slipped away and was counted out. Truth defeated Fandango in a minute 35 seconds. What a waste. I'm glad I didn't see that BS. They brought out judges table for that. R-Truth was protected for what reason? Anyway, it was nice. It was a nice surprise to see Jericho, who was not advertised for the show. Here's hoping that this means Jericho versus Fandango will be added to Extreme Rules. Triple H was featured in the Susan G. Komen commercial. He said he has a beautiful wife, 3 daughters, and a mother who survived breast cancer. He said the women in his life mean everything to him, and that's why he donates to Susan G. Komen. He invited viewers to visit Komen.org/WWE to donate to the cause. There were black and white photos of Hunter with Stephanie McMahon as well as his own daughters. Announcers spoke at ringside and they plugged the charity again and shifted their focus to the rough night that Daniel Bryan had on SmackDown. They showed him losing to Ryback and being attacked by the Shield, a good spot and a wise move to get the wrestler executive future face off the company involved in a charity spot, especially since his mother being a breast cancer survivor, which I did not know until tonight. Backstage, Josh Matthews interviewed Brian and asked how he is physically. Brian said he's not exactly good, but he's fine. He said that the Shield used the word justified, but he questions how justify a 3-on-1 attack is. He said one is buying it. Brian said he was challenging the Ryback to a match. Ryback was right there on the interview set behind Brian. Ryback said Brian is injured and therefore he turned it down. He said even if he wasn't healthy, he's half the man that he is. Kane showed up and spun around Ryback and asked whether he thinks he is half the man that Ryback is. I did just happen to catch this segment. It was a pretty good promo by Kane. Ryback told Kane he's not the monster that he was, and he is the only real monster left in WWE. Ricardo Rodriguez handled the introduction of Alberto. As JBL said, Ricardo is going to drop an O-ring one of these days. Very funny. Cole said that Del Rio would be facing Dolph Ziggler after the break. Lawler said after the break, Vicky Guerrero has made Kane versus Ryback official for later in the show. Match number 3. Well, that's probably meaning the main event. Match number 3, Dolph Ziggler with AJ and Biggie Langston in the corner versus Alberto Del Rio with Ricardo Rodriguez in a non-title match. Actually got to see most of this match after a few minutes in this action. Swagger's music played and he walked out with Zeb Coulter when they sat at the announcer's table. After the break, Coulter was on commentary. Highlights were shown of AJ distracted Del Rio, leading to Ziggler performing a face buster on Del Rio off the top rope during the commercial break. Well, back live, Ziggler was in control of the match, and the match continued. Coulter said Swagger was going to win the ladder match even though Del Rio had experience using a ladder. He said he wouldn't go any further with those comments. JBL then asked Zeb whether he celebrated Cinco de Mayo. He said he did not, and he isn't even sure why it's even celebrated. Meanwhile, Ziggler bumped like an inside the ring for Del Rio after the big build-up. Del Rio hits a mini super kick to the kneeling Ziggler for a 2 count. Del Rio applied the cross arm breaker and climbed onto the ring apron and distracted the referee. Well, actually, AJ climbed on the ring apron and distracted the referee. Just as he was about to tap, Langston grabbed Del Rio and pulled him out of the ring. But the referee saw him and immediately called for the bell for the disqualification. Well, as the ring was they signaled for the bell. Del Rio Langston threw Del Rio into Swagger, and that's what he called for the bell. And Alberto won the match by disqualification, 14 minutes 55 seconds. After the match, Swagger attacked Langston. And he pulled the ladder out from underneath the ring. Ricardo got involved momentarily, but Swagger used the ladder to run him through the barricade into the barricade. Swagger entered the ring and struck Ziggler with the ladder. Then threw it at Del Rio's face. Swagger stood tall over both of his opponents and Coulter raised his hand. A good match with entertaining commentary for Coulter, though I wish the announcers would have just called the in-ring action for the match. Swagger looked like a beast. Seriously, I don't know if he's ever looked more like a badass than he ever has. As he destroyed everyone other than AJ. Strong setup for the ladder match, which currently leads our poll for the Extreme Rules match that the readers of Ringside News, or actually ProWrestling.net, are mostly going to choose. And thanks courtesy of ProWrestling.net for this result. Highlights here of the Ryback picking the last man standing match for the Extreme Rules match with John Cena. Announcers discussed at the match and then discussed the Lesnar and Heyman angle and hyped Kane versus Ryback for the main event. Also set up footage of the Yahoo Upfront event where Stephanie McMahon announced a 30-minute Raw preview show that I discussed for the last 2 weeks that will air weekly beginning of summer. Backstage, Cameron and Naomi asked Caitlyn about her mystery man. This one was kind of fading in and out. She said she doesn't know who it is. Natalya showed up, and she wants to know who it is. She read a text that the mystery man saying that not every woman can squat 300 pounds, look hot in a little black dress, and quote every episode of The Simpsons. Natalya asked the great Khali to find out who the mystery man is. Caitlyn questioned the idea of having a 7-foot giant go undercover. Natalya said he used to be a police officer in India. They all wandered off, and the Bellas emerged with smiles on their faces as they did the little tweet thing. Sent the text messages as Cole Saul said Cody Rhodes told the WWE website that he is not the mystery man. The Shield made their entrance as the announcers recapped their recent reactions. How does Caitlyn keep this mystery man separate from the mouth-breathing lunatic lover boy fans who bombard her social media with similar tactics? Cyber stalkers, I guess the lesson here is that giving the gift of an atrocious studded hat is more effective than sending unsolicited photos of your junk. Who knew? Man, if only Brett Favre and I could turn back time. The Shield, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns versus the Uso brothers and Kofi Kingston. The Shield isolated one of the Uso brothers on their side of the ring and worked him over. Later, one of the Usos hit a Samoan drop on Seth Rollins and then made the hot tag to Kofi Kingston. Kofi got the better of Ambrose and drop kicked Reigns off the apron. Kingston set up for his finisher, but Ambrose back to the corner, so Kingston went for the splash instead. Kofi fought off Reigns and performed a crossbody block on Ambrose and had him pinned, but Roman Reigns broke it up. Later, Ambrose caught Kingston on the top rope, but Kingston knocked him down with the referee distracted by Reigns. Rollins shoved Kofi off the top rope. Ambrose performed a front light DDT move and pinned Kingston to win the match. And that match took 6 minutes 45 seconds out of our lives. More still photo shots of Lesnar and Heyman at WWE headquarters and Triple H's trashed office. Announcers hype Kane versus Ryback for the main event. A very good TV match. Kingston's presence helped the match, and they were able to build up to his hot tag, and the live crowd took his offense seriously. I can't even complain about the U.S. champion being pinned, as he looked strong and was simply a victim of the numbers game at the end. Cole saw hype Randy Orton versus Antonio Cesaro as the featured match for WWE main event for Wednesday night. Match number 5, Antonio Cesaro versus Zack Ryder again. Cesaro wore a beret and shades during his entrance. No yodeling during his match this time. Cesaro won with a squash match neutralizer. After the match, Cesaro said he doesn't always ask for a microphone, but when he does, he has something important to say. He pointed to Ryder and asked if that is all the competition they have for him. He said that he puts the W in WWE. He said that there's nobody in NXT, Superstars, Main Event, SmackDown, or Raw that can hold a candle to what he can do in the ring. A decisive win, a boastful promo, and no yodeling. Much better, of course. His call for competition would have been better had he not lost countless matches in recent weeks and been shown losing to Kofi Kingston in the pre-match video session. But it's all about baby steps, folks. More photos were shown of Lesnar and Heyman at WWE headquarters, and Heyman was shown live flashing a look of disdain at the person putting a microphone on him. WWE has played it up that the WWE employees were responsible for all the still shot photos we've shown of Lesnar and Heyman at the WWE headquarters. It's kind of a clever explanation, but it does leave you wondering whether that means the employees mark out and take photos and then tweet the photos whenever one of the wrestlers walks into the building. This better be some killer footage given all this build-up for an office trashing. Hell, it better make what Peter, Michael, and Samir did to the Initech printer that looked tame by comparison. Heyman appeared via satellite and said that he and his client took a self-guided tour of WWE headquarters. Heyman set up the video footage and that he shot at the headquarters. Lesnar looked at the building and smiled. Then he and Heyman entered the Notice Extreme Rules poster, and Heyman questioned why Sheamus was featured. Heyman also noticed a tribute to the Andre Giant and questioned why, since he's been dead for 150 years. Heyman and Lesnar got into the elevator. Heyman whistled, and a guy on the elevator couldn't get off fast enough. Heyman said no one seemed happy. It's a poor working environment, Heyman said. Funny, Heyman pointed Lesnar down the hall. Lesnar stopped and stared at the Royal Rumble poster with The Rock featured. Heyman pointed out that there wasn't a single poster of Lesnar. They looked into the boardroom. Heyman said it will be a wonderful place to be once Triple H, Stephanie take over. They found Paul Levette's office. Heyman greeted Triple H's secretary. "You're not Stephanie," he said. "You're much prettier than she is." A man told Lesnar that he couldn't go into Hunter's office. Lesnar face planted the guy. Lesnar Heyman entered Triple H's shitty make-believe office. Lesnar took down a replica title belt, put it over his shoulder, and then sat down in Hunter's chair while putting his feet up on the desk. Lesnar broke a laptop, the keyboard to his desktop, and punched the monitor off the desk. Wow, big man. Lesnar walked over to the wall where a sledgehammer was hanging. Brock sledged the hammer down on the replica title belt and Triple H's lousy make-believe disc. Lesnar threw a few chairs and other objects at the WWE logo on the wall, like a dumbbell. See, what else did he throw over there? He pulled the TV off, a flat screen TV off the wall. Looks like about 40-something inches. And threw it at the logo, busted it. Heyman said the office was trash, which is appropriate since Hunter married into trash. Heyman left Triple H's his business card. Heyman said he will no longer discourage Lesnar. He's going to encourage Lesnar. Heyman put the destroyed title belt on his shoulder, and Heyman said he is going to beg Lesnar to hurt Triple H inside the cage. Brock Lesnar is going to take Triple H to the extreme, and then Brock Lesnar is going to go further, and interrupted by Triple H's music. Triple H headed to the ring, and while Heyman's mug remained on the big screen, Hunter told Heyman to call the guy who was fixing his mic earlier back into the room to fix his hair. He asked if Heyman ever opens his mouth without a bunch of crap falling out of it. He said, "Heyman talks extreme, but do you know who the hell you're talking to?" Hunter said he started DX, tore through the Attitude Era with an iron fist, and knocked Brock Lesnar out cold at WrestleMania. Hunter said he's not buying that Heyman and Lesnar went to the WWE headquarters to find him on a Monday night when everyone in the world knows he's at Raw. Triple H said that he has two offices, the one they tore up and the one he's standing in. "Paul, this office has one hell of a view," Hunter said. And he points to the crowd for about 20-30 seconds. Triple H said this office is more like his home because it's where he became a man, something Lesnar has never became. If Brock Lesnar has something to say to me, then tell him to be a man and say it to my face. Well, didn't he steal A-Ride's words there? "I'm not real hard to find. I'm right here in the ring." Hunter paused for a modest Triple H chant. And that's almost as the cheer of the night. Then said if Lesnar thinks he can walk into his office and do what he did to his other office, the bad news for Brock is that we fight back. Hunter's music played to conclude the segment. Footage aired of Kane versus Ryback as they go to commercial. Heyman had some witty lines and was watching Brock destroy shit as always entertaining, but it was hard to suspend disbelief when it comes to Triple H apparently having a worse office than Dwight Schrute just took over last Thursday. Hunter's promo was going along nicely until he paused so that three people could get Triple H's chance to grow. A Total Divas ad aired for the E Network show that premieres in July. The Bella Twins and AJ Lee versus Caitlin, Cameron, and Naomi in a 6-man tag match, and I was able to see this match. Not much of it. It wasn't much of a match. It only lasts 2 minutes 40 seconds. The live crowd sat on their hands until Caitlin tagged in while AJ was down. Lee slapped her and then tried to tag out, and both Bellas dropped off the apron, leaving her by herself, and Caitlin speared her and pinned her. So Caitlin, Cameron, and Naomi won the match. A shot aired of Mark Henry walking backstage. Lawler said Henry was livid and would be out next. Here comes Mark Henry, cues Sheamus with a whoopee cushion. Sean Combs was featured in a spot for Be a Star. He even has a clothing line for the WWE campaign. Yeah, really. Mark Henry made his entrance and said that Sheamus would come out in just a couple of minutes. He said Sheamus would be acting really tough and would beat his chest like a monkey. Then do the Celtic pose. Henry said the problem is that Sheamus will be acting. Henry said he doesn't have to act tough because he is tough. The crowd started chanting, giving Henry the what treatment. So they repeated Sheamus' name a few times and then called the fans puppets. Funny footage was shown of recent Henry attacks on Sheamus back in the ring. Henry was smiling and told the cameraman to zoom in close. Sheamus, if you have any pride in that pasty body of yours, you'll face me at Extreme Rules. Henry said it's been a long time since he got Extreme. I promise you, people will remember this match for the rest of his existence. Sheamus, who had some bruising around his eye, made his entrance. Footage aired of a silly Sheamus getting the better of Henry recently. Henry said Sheamus isn't serious about anything, but he better be when they meet at Extreme Rules. Sheamus said he's all about business when the bell rings. He said his business is Henry at Extreme Rules. Henry said that they don't have to wait until then, and Sheamus agreed. Before they could fight, Wade Barrett's music played and he came out. Paul saw Sheamus had a match scheduled with Barrett, and they would be one-on-one. As a commercial break. Intercontinental Champion versus Sheamus in a non-title match. Mark Henry was on commentary, and the match joined in already in progress. Sheamus knocked off Barrett to ringside, and they teased throwing him at Henry, who flinched enough to fall out of a chair. Henry stood up and ate a road kick. Sheamus returned to the ring and continued to get the better of Barrett, who finally came back with a sidewalk slam. Henry tended to get the trainers tended to Henry on the floor as Barrett got some offense in. Barrett set up the bull hammer, but Sheamus recovered and put him down with a white noise. Sheamus followed up with a road kick for the win. After the match, Henry entered the ring and whipped Sheamus with a belt and then performed the World's Strongest Slam at ringside. My prediction, it's going to be a strap match at Extreme Rules. And Sheamus won a 4-minute 35-second match. A tail of the tape was showed for Ryback versus Kane main event. They showed footage of Henry checking the belt shots that they used off of one of the trainers. Trainer's eyes must have flashed before his eyes if no one bothered to smarten them up beforehand. Congrats to WWE for continuing their streaks of making Henry look like a fool initially and making the Intercontinental title seem worthless. Footage aired of Brock Lesnar destroying Triple H's make-believe office, which is probably like every shitty insurance salesman's office you've ever sat in. Also hyped that Ryback will be the special guest on Chris Jericho's highlight reel of Friday SmackDown TV show. The main event, Ryback versus Kane. Ryback threw Kane into the barricade at ringside a minute 30 seconds in, which is one of the heel setups for the commercial break. As the show goes over the 10 o'clock hour for live programming, but my live programming, it was delayed. Colt told viewers that the match was very physical during the commercial break. Ryback was still in control of the offense until he ran into a big boot from Kane, who went for the chokeslam afterwards. Ryback powered out of it, and Kane DDT'd Ryback and covered him for a 2 count. Ryback came back and yelled, "Finish it!" Kane had other ideas. Kane suplexed Ryback and got another 2 count. Kane went to the top rope. Ryback cut him off. Kane knocked him down with punches, but Ryback fell onto the ropes and crotched Kane in the process. Ryback picked up Kane on his shoulders and performed Shell Shock for the win. Just as that was happening, Ryback pinned Kane in 8 minutes 40 seconds. After the match, Shields music played. Daniel Bryan entered the ring before they got to the ring. Stood in front of Kane. Ryback left the ring. And John Cena's music played and he entered the ring. Stood next to Bryan. Right there's where my feed cut off for the internet feed. Kane had rolled out of the ring. Ryback returned to the ring with a chair. Like I said, my internet feed cut out, so this is what happened as the show actually goes off the air. Bryan performed suicide dive. Cena had Roman Reigns for the attitude adjustment, but Ryback jabbed Cena with the chair and then slammed it over his back. Ryback yelled, Ryback rules, and posed over Cena to close the show. So that is the TV part of it. And WWE just can't seem to get the Cena versus Ryback match going. The most excited I was for the match was the night after WrestleMania. They took a step back after that and have been spinning their wheels ever since. One of the problems is that he went from being a badass babyface to seemingly fairly cowardly as a heel. I thought that whatever money there was in a premature match between the two have been for a match with Cena at his strongest and beating The Rock against the badass Ryback. The formula they have been going now just isn't working. Overall, just another one of those long, plodding episodes of Raw. By the end of these 3 hours, I'm not feeling excited about Extreme Rules at all. I'm feeling numb to the WWE product. They rarely leave most viewers wanting more after a 3-hour marathon. A 3-hour format is a problem, but so is their inability to change the way that they do things. They simply stretched out the old 2-hour formula. And now for what happened after Raw. And thanks to Mike, who attended Monday's Raw in Roanoke, Virginia, sent the following report on what happened after the show off the air. John Cena and Team Hell No defeated the Shield by disqualification in the dark match, just like all the rest of them. Cena, Daniel Bryan, and Kane got the win after one of the Shield members used a chair. After the match, Cena and Kane hit the attitude adjustment and chokeslam combo. Who sent the crowd home happy. And that ends my report for this week's Monday Night Raw and Superstars and other wrestling results. Thanks again and peace out.